Are you looking for a semi-professional wildlife camera and lens setup? I was, and I picked up a new kit. Welcome back to our channel. Today I have something truly exciting, or at least exciting for me, to share with you. I'll be giving you my first impressions of my new Sony A7IV paired with Sony's 200 to 600 f5.6 to 6.3 G lens. Now, I think this is probably the best value on the market right now for a semi-professional wildlife setup. It seems Sony has even designed this lens with wildlife photographers in mind if they're on a budget. The entire package comes in at just under $5,000, and that's even including a memory card, extra battery, and that sort of thing. This is not a small amount of money, but for what you're getting with this combination, and you're getting gear that's capable of a truly professional level wildlife photographer, this is an absolute steal for this amount of money. Let's start out by discussing why I chose the Sony A7IV and 200 to 600 lens combo as my primary kit for wildlife photography. The A7IV comes with in-body image stabilization, or as Sony likes to call it, steady shot. It's weather sealed, has stellar autofocus, and most importantly, has a 33 megapixel full frame sensor, allowing for exceptional image quality and detail. Paired with a 200 to 600 lens, you can capture stunning wildlife portraits or wildlife action shots from a distance without disturbing your subjects. The build quality of the camera and lens is simply outstanding, especially at this price point. The Sony A7IV feels solid in my hand, and I find it has a very ergonomic, user-friendly design. It's deep enough to get a good grip on, making it comfortable to hold for long periods of time. The 200 to 600 is not light by any means, but it's much easier to carry afield than the big primes that I've used in the past. If you want to use a tripod, it has an internal zoom that allows it to be balanced once it's on a gimbal, and then you leave it alone. Something you can't do with external zoom lenses like the Canon 100 to 500 or the older Nikon 200 to 500. Moving on to the autofocus performance. This is where the A7IV truly shines and why I chose this camera lens combination to begin with. The advanced, reliable tracking and eye autofocus technology allows you to effortlessly lock on your wildlife subjects, ensuring sharp, precise focus even in very challenging conditions. This is a game changer for capturing those fleeting moments in the wild because they only come once and you have to grab them at the exact moment when they occur. It doesn't matter if it's animals running at a full sprint towards you or birds in flight. The kit simply locks onto the animal and grabs focus with boring regularity. And even though it is a very new system for me, I'm already capturing more keepers than I was with previous systems. Let's talk about the image quality. The combination of the A7IV sensor coupled with the 200 to 600 lens's optical quality produces stunningly sharp and detailed images. The lens handles chromatic aberration and distortion remarkably well, allowing you to capture wildlife with exceptional clarity. This is especially helpful with white birds such as egrets, mute swans, or in high contrast environments where one would typically see more chromatic aberration. One aspect that wildlife photographers often struggle with is reach. Let's be honest. We can never have too much reach, especially for birds in flight. The 200 to 600 lens provides an impressive focal range at this size, allowing you to get up close to your subjects even when they're further away than maybe we'd like at certain points. The short throw of the internal zoom ring allows for fast, accurate recomposition so the shot isn't missed. In addition, the 33 megapixel sensor allows for the ability to crop more than you might be able to with the A9 II or even the Canon R6. This versatility is invaluable when photographing wildlife in their natural habitats. Now, we touched on this earlier, but let's talk more about the in-body image stabilization or steady shot. The technology minimizes camera shake, providing you with sharper images, especially when shooting handheld in lower light. It's a needed addition for wildlife photographers who are constantly on the move. While it doesn't seem quite as good as my Fuji X-H2S, it is more than adequate for wildlife photography because usually we're shooting at higher shutter speeds anyway. As far as the user interface and the controls go, now Sony gets a lot of bad press for their user interface and their controls and their menu system. I personally have found it to be stellar and very, very easy to work. Sony has done an excellent job making a very intuitive system and very customizable with the buttons, allowing you to tailor your shooting experience to this specific camera. I've set my AE lock button to toggle through the eye detection modes, including bird, human, and animal, and my custom mode 2 button is set to toggle through the autofocus settings. Case in point, it's a camera that offers a very seamless user experience, and it's very fast with only a few minor tweaks. And it's also very easy to adapt to different shooting scenarios. With 3 customizable wheels, I'm able to instantly change my aperture, shutter speed, and exposure compensation without a second thought. Despite being very new to the camera system, I found it very intuitive. Not to mention, it's one of the most popular cameras on the market. It's very easy to go on YouTube, find the video for your specific problem, and rectify the situation. Autofocus modes. Unlike most other systems, Sony has really made their autofocus modes very simple and easy to work with. You essentially have your basic modes of wide, spot, so on, etc., and you have tracking for most of these modes. For most of my situation, it seems expandable spot with tracking enabled has been the most reliable. Of course, I cannot be certain as I've only had this camera for a few outings, but if that changes, I'll be sure to update the video. For now, I'm getting results I was simply unable to obtain with my previous systems. Lastly, let's talk battery life. Sony has improved the battery performance in the A7 IV, which is a necessity for wildlife photographers who tend to spend long hours in the field away from chargers. However, it's always recommended to carry extra batteries to ensure uninterrupted shooting. Sony has been using this same FZ100 2280 mAh battery for a couple of years now, and it seems to provide more than acceptable battery life. After a morning or afternoon of just shooting stills, leaving my camera on the entire time with all the power saving features disabled, and shooting at 10 frames per second, I'm able to capture about 400 images in roughly 2 hours, and the battery life only drops to about 60%. If that's not enough for you, if you find yourself shooting substantially more, you can pick up a spare battery for about $80 and a third-party battery grip for not much more if you want to double your shooting time. For me, I've already ordered a spare battery and a third-party battery grip. And there you have it, my first impressions of the Sony A7 IV, along with some sample images for you to click through and kind of see what this camera is capable of for a beginning wildlife photographer. From the build quality, image quality, autofocus capabilities, battery life, and overall user experience, it's a very impressive camera combination that really holds great potential for capturing breathtaking wildlife shots. Simply put, if you can't get professional level images with this kit, it's the photographer, not the kit. If you've enjoyed this first impressions review, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with all of my latest content. As always, happy shooting.